Okay, work this time. Sorry I'm a little late. I went dead on time and it wouldn't let me launch the stream. And now it has, which is good. Because I've got lots of things to talk about, lots of things to show, and now, oh, grief. Right, okay. I'm getting because I think I'll probably get right. Sorry about that. I had another I had it open as a viewer so I could see so I could actually post, because it wouldn't let me post anything on here while it was refusing to work. So I was getting feedback of me a few seconds lagged just now. So technical difficulty sorted. I closed the window down because I didn't need it. Could have muted it. Really didn't make any difference, but yeah. I'm up. I'm live. I'm more or less recovered from Salute. Sorry, not Salute. Partizan. Don't go to Salute because London and people. And I've got lots of things to show you that I picked up there and plans for the future that therefore. We will start off with the thing I was teaching. Well, we'll start off with probably things at random, to be honest, because where everything is on this table is anybody's guess. All right, the first thing that happened was my camera, not this one, proceeded. It's got two faults I know about. One of which is that the lens has had grit in it at some point and doesn't open properly, and the other one is it doesn't turn on when you turn on, and the keypad is a bit unreliable. Well, all of those happened just as I was trying to take pictures at Partizan, which is why I had to use Stu Shaw's pictures, which I've had to post without context because, as I say, I didn't know what the games were they were referring to, and I didn't talk to most of the people that were there. I just did a trader run, which I needed to do, but wasn't, interacting with all the lovely events. I will be back. I will interact with the events last time. Now, as promised, this is the free figure, and I am going to, and it's got Richard on the back who says who it is. It's Walter Designe, and I'll have to find out what period he's from. Looks Baron's Warish, judging by the kit he's got on him, and might be a leader for a ruckus stroke Baron's War retinue at some point in the near future. But lovely figure, good one-piece sculpt. They always are from Newark. They always are from Partizan. And I don't do this as a figure collector. I just do them. But it's a cool figure. They're always cool figures. Anyway, getting on to stuff I actually went to buy. I actually went to go and talk to young Fenris, and Ian from Fenris. And I wanted to get a load of scenery for Frostgrave, and the stuff I actually wanted, which is Rubble City 1 effectively starter set, to bulk out the bits and pieces I've been collecting, he didn't have with him, but I ordered that the following day. This is a lovely tower, which I'll use the pict for scale, is an absolutely lovely place to point of view and shooting spot for Frostgrave. It will get stuck to a base, probably this one. Now, Ian does some really nice MDF bases himself, but I bought a load of war bases, assorted ponds, a while back, and I've been using these for them, so I shall carry on using those for the moment. As I say, there's more to come on this stuff, but this was the only piece of Fenris that I picked up because I wanted a big, spectacular centerpiece, and this is a good one, and also because people can get up on top of it, you can shoot arrows and spells at people. There'll be a bit of groundwork around the bottom to blend it into the base to be done, but that will be done later. Pictures will appear of this. And I will put this to one side because I didn't really plan on how to organise it. Also, I picked up this from Great Escape Games. This is part of the Redux release. Dead Man's Hand Redux. You see, Dead Man's Hand, you still can read, despite my being dyslexic and stuff. And basically, these are boardwalks and appropriate clutter for the boardwalk. I should have got this with the Kickstarter, but I didn't. I forgot to order it, basically. I ordered a load of extra buildings, which need more of this. There's a set that comes with the two-player starter set, which I've got behind there. And that basically was the bit I missed off the order. From now on, I will be expanding the setup, and I will be demoing this game at Books and Banter in due course. And that can go with the other stuff that's waiting down here from that Kickstarter. Now, the two gentlemen that I went with got quite taken with the concept of Through the Mud and the Blood. And I think they wanted to buy a set of the rules. Unfortunately, the physical copies of Through the Mud and the Blood have been out of print for a while, and you have to rely on the PDF, which is still available from Two Fat Lardies. I've got a physical copy of the rules somewhere in the house. It will appear during my diggings and tidings, and I'll be bringing that down to Books and Banter. I don't have any terrain for 28mm. All of my stuff was 15, and I was in the process of redoing it at 20 because it's a bit easier to see for people who, there's one thing to using magnification to paint. The other thing is to use magnification to actually play the game with. Beyond my reading glasses, that's a bit of a thingy. Anyway, I picked up some the War Games Atlantic stuff. Now, I've not actually seen these before. Knew they're about, but I had no reason to get them. Basically, there's 60 of these I got, which is enough for a platoon, British platoon, which is 40 something in the latter half of the war. And hopefully this has got all the bits and pieces that I need to build a mid to late World War II, World War I platoon between the two boxes that I've got, and I did get 2. I also, and I will need some more figures for these, got the German boxes. I got 2 of these because late in the war, 60 figures is enough to cover a platoon. Earlier in the war, the platoons were bigger, and I'd probably need another about 10 models. But as I want to do a stormtrooper unit and a trench platoon, I will be using. I'll get another box, and I may very well be getting some French ones as well, just to bulk things up. But I need to check my French organisations because they're a bit more complicated than either the German or the British one. As I say, very cool stuff. Looking forward to making those, building those at some point. Once the Japanese I'm currently building is done, and the other stuff that's on commission is coming first. I've got some Hordes and Heroes to do, and I've got some more I've got some German World War II stuff to do as well, from the same lad that wants me to do the Japanese. But the Japanese would be done by now. I'm just waiting for some sprues to arrive to make up the numbers, because as normal, Warlord boxes aren't quite big enough, and you need the odd extra sprue. I mean, my technique was you just buy 2 boxes of everything, and it usually covers. But I would be building for Chain of Command, and he wants his for Bolt Action and Conflict 47 as well. But he's going to be playing Bolt Action, Chain of Command, because constructive bullying is a thing. I also went to war bases. I didn't buy any bases off them because most of the bases they had were not the ones I was after. This was a thing for the day. Also, I'd left a piece of paper where I'd written down what sizes I actually wanted, so it would have been a bit guesswork and memory. Not a good idea. So I basically ended up ordering those after the show when I could refer to the sheet I carefully created and left behind. I did pick up some War Bases animals. These are for the Frostgrave lot. And these will be glued to bases. Got some wild dogs and we've got some wolves. And I'll paint those up for Frostgrave. Excuse me, well. So I've been tidying up today. And there is more dust in the air than I like to think about. As I say, there's 4 dogs here. And I think 4 wolves. So that's another thing for the Frostgrave bestiary. And I'll base them up later in the show if you don't mind me going off and getting the super glue. Because I've got bases for them. Didn't get the super glue. I can go over there for the moment. I also got this, not for its intended purpose, which is as a figure storage tray for inside a really useful box. This one fits in a 4-litre really useful box. But this is going to make a lovely dice tray. This is the shallow version, and I will pick up some craft felt and line it with a craft felt when I've assembled it, which I might do on, which I'm probably going to do on stream shortly, and basically use it as a dice tray because there's plenty of room to roll things in, and the felt will absorb the impact and slow the dice down, so you don't end up rolling. I find the hexagonal ones are a little short, and you'd be rolling down this long. And you could also use a dice tower in this. Use this as a bigger discharge area if you're rolling lots of dice and you don't want them all stuck together, you know, all cluttering each other up. But I'll be making later on the stream. Of course, the beautiful Partizan everything demo thing, which you get for going to Partizan, which I might be using as a pretty show thing behind there because it looks a lot prettier than the stuff that I've actually got there. And the star of the show, the star would actually have been the other stuff that I ordered from Fenris, which is basically a starter set for Rubble City 1. But I picked up a physical copy of these. I was going to order this next month, but they had physical copies there. And I am, as you know, mildly obsessed with the KNLI for this. This is also the rule set which book for the Japanese that I'm making for Igor. And having just skimmed through it, it appears to be absolutely brilliant in the way that KNLI and the way Ladi books often are. Well, in fact, always are, to be honest. They are not, as I say, you had a proper look at it, but the presentation is gorgeous. This covers the British sector, or what was designated as the British sector. So Dutch East Indies, Malaya, Burma, India. The island battles and China are in the American sector, and the American sector book is coming out later. Apparently they're all supposed to be one book, but it sort of grew like topsy. There's some lovely models in here, and it builds on a lot of the rules that first came out in the earlier Blitzkrieg book, but I'm really looking forward to playing with that. Anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go and blow off screen and get some glue, and I'm going to blow my nose off screen so you can't hear it. As I say, dust is in the air. plastic glue. What's it glue? Super glue. Super glue. Oh, there it is. Right. Anyway, I'm on my way back. I found it, having talked to myself and cast the summoned pot of glue that I was using 10 minutes before the stream and now can't find. Back. Super glue. Expo Extra Thick Super Glue, which I'm going to be using to stick the tower down and also the metal animals to the bases. We'll start with the metal animals because they're the least complicated thing. And we'll get the modelling glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Again, rather boringly, I've not got the camera to take pictures to one side at the moment, though it is on the list of things I'm going to have to get fairly soon. So where did I put those figures? Where did I put the figures I had in my hand a moment or two ago and was going to... welcome to my world where I lose stuff just by putting it down and having it spontaneously vanish. Oh, there they are. Right. Yeah, I put stuff down and it disappears. So these are war bases for more bases animals range, and I can't speak too highly of them. They are realistically sized for 28mm animals and very nicely cast in hard lead-free pewter by the way they behave. You know, one of the brass hard pewters. Now, that's that over there. And again, I'm not going off screen to get a file, because that would be easier if I'd have done that. But, you know, that was me sitting for 10 minutes. You know, prep is prep. And prep is something I recommend other people do and bad at myself. As I say, a bit of cleaning up might be necessary on these, but I want to see what's going on before I do that. So the main point is to get the bases on. And the strange noise you might have been hearing was my hard drive or fan on the computer doing stuff. As I say, I would actually have a camera so you could actually see me chopping lumps of lead off the bottom, lumps of metal off the bottom of these. But I don't have one yet, so we are where we are. As I say, there isn't that much flash on these, so I normally put these on different bases than this, but I thought for the demo, for the Books and Banter demo lot, which is this is where they're going, having them all on round bases would look a bit better. So I'm just using this is thick super glue, and I'm just putting them off to one side to go off. What I will do when I've glued them down, again, I'll show you them just before I finish, but if I flash them in front of you at the moment, they're highly likely to fall off the bases. So Fenris had some lovely wolves, but they were very big. They were a bit warg sized, and I wanted something that wouldn't look out of place with 28mm figures rather than would look giant warg sized. But the sculpts were gorgeous, and they had puppies and everything, and it was really, really cool. And you may become aware that I'm a bit of a softie for dogs and wolves and animals generally. In fact, I will be doing a charity live stream at some point to try and raise money for a local animal rescue. Then we have the dogs. The dogs obviously are smaller and can be done as sort of hunting guard dogs for the warband. or they can be done as basically wild dogs. A selection of poses, same as the wolves, same sort of idea as the wolves. And a little bit more handed. That one's actually got quite some bad flash on, which is not normal war basis stuff, but it's only fairly thin and doesn't require major carving. Also, it being furry means you're going to lose a mould line. It's just along the mould line. Well, files are so much easier because you can actually get them all level, and you will always get stuff on the bottom of a puddle base. It's on an injection moulded base because that's a sensible place to put the filling in. And the puddle bases are actually lead reservoirs or metal reservoirs for any casting. So you don't have to get, so you can guarantee you fill the figure, but not necessarily entirely the model. Give that a bit of a thingy. Give that a bit of a thingy more. As I say, I'm not a massive fan of the scrapers that they do because people are worried about knives. But I do understand why people use them because there's a bit of knife terror going around. And whilst you could hurt yourself or someone else with one of those knives, if you wanted to or slipped, it's once you're used to using, if I can manage it, pretty much everybody can. It's like the round pointed scissors they give to children, you know. They're tools, respect them. If you misuse them, you will hurt yourself and possibly others. So don't prat about with tools, respect them, and learn how to use them properly. And again, I'll flash those in front of you, and they will need smoothing in with milliput so that they fit in. And I am suffering slightly from the dust again, but those are those done. Now, the Fenris thing, which was cheap at twice the price, if you want my opinion, is a classic hand poured resin. And that's usually got a bit of a meniscus around it. So you can either clean that off to level it out, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is use a little bit of milliput to basically level it with that. This is the brand new milliput that I picked that was on a delivery a week or so ago. And you may have seen pictures if you follow what I do. Because I will post pictures of anything if I'm desperate. Sorry, I will post pictures of things, you know, what goes on as I do things. As I say, we don't seem to have anybody in the chat tonight, but I'm happy chunting away. And I don't think it helped that we had a little bit of drama at the beginning with the technical difficulty, which was, shall we say, somewhat irksome. Again, you work the stuff until it gets slightly warm, which means the chemical reaction started and it's beginning to harden. Usually takes a couple of hours to actually harden, but you want to put just a little bit under the middle of that. And you put a little bit of glue on that because this is the famous milliput glue sandwich. I'm sure I'm trying to do this without basic positioning. Again, the base is meant to be irregular, so it doesn't actually have to be too central. And again, like the figures, you do the trick with the milliput just to blend the figure into the base. I could have built a bit of hill under this, I might get another one and do that, so we've got more towers. But I am, as I say, in process of building a demo set for Books and Banter, and this will be part of it. In fact, you may see them in a not particularly finished state. The Saturday of Expo, which is a couple of weeks from now, because it's Books and Banter's 23rd anniversary, and I will be doing demos for Frostgrave that day with all the Frostgrave stuff that I've got so far in the state it is. The figures are will be finished, but the it's likely the scenery won't be, because there's more stuff on order, and I will be building scenery up to the day and possibly on the day. And more of this. Again, mix it 50-50 generally, and make sure you mix it thoroughly. And if I've got any left over from here, I'll continue to use it on the thing. There are some Frostgrave wizards on order, and I'm hoping to get some support from Osprey about doing supply support for people taking part in the demo or the tournament or whatever. Just some Frostgrave soldiers of various sorts, so people can get a selection and just add to their collection. I'm also intending to be able to build and paints down the Books and Banter on a Wednesday. I can't do every Wednesday because I shatter myself out and I run out of cash for personal use. So, but I will be down there and I will be demoing stuff and showing people off and mixing this with other manufacturer scenery, because Bad Squiddo did some really nice bits and pieces which will go well with this, and as do Ainsley Castings, who also do a lot of dungeon stuff, which I'll probably be using as a basis for the breeding pit stuff, which is all underground. Right, so there we have your first bit all done there. And that's thoroughly stuck down, and as I will be painting it with a spirit-based thing, any oil on the resin will probably be dealt with by the fact I'm going to be using an oily base coat. And that one's done, and I should put him to one side. Photograph all of those properly so you can see them in detail later. Expect them to be up on the site in due course. And I've got all of this left over, so I'm going to use all of that to do the wolves and dogs. I nearly got some more rats from Fenris, but I'm always concerned that I'm going over budget at shows, and I had other things to get that I had to order from both them war bases and North Star, who didn't bring any of their metal wizards with them, which again the people who were with me wanted to look at. Because Nick and Co were playing Oathmark, very impressive little Oathmark game, which I would have liked to have got photographs of, but I didn't. And I'd like to have a chat with Nick, but I didn't. Again, but I am rather happy that my army of the Forgotten King is about 3 times the size of their undead army. But it was a very nice demo game, which the North Starians deserve their weekends off. You know, we can't all work 7 days a week, 70 hours a month, continually like I do. This is my hobby as well, so this is fun. as even talking to people who I'm not sure are even there is fun. So I'm going to have to wet my hand in a bit. And again, I've got the water. I've not got water with me. There's planning. What's that? Planning is for, again, smooth them in. Sand and possibly a bit of milliput rubble to make them look suitably frost wavy. And I will be getting some, and again, trouble with super glue is that before it goes off, it is actually a lubricant. So your models can slip to one side. Now I don't mind that, but some people have issues with stuff not being in exactly the centre of bases. Because as far as I'm concerned, and especially as far as the rules are concerned, a base is just there to stop the figure falling over, and so that you have got something to handle that isn't the figure. Because with the best one in the world, and even with the sort of varnish levels that I use, there is a risk of people wearing paint off figures if they keep grabbing them by the figure. Again, probably roll this a little bit finer. Again, me rolling plasticine as a kid and turning my bedroom carpet into lino by dropping it on the floor, which was always greatly appreciated by parents. And again, little sculpty thing just to flatten it and smooth it, texture it. You can go to town putting the textures on into the milliput. However, as I'm going to stick sand over the top of them, the sand provides all the textures you possibly want. And I'm not going to assemble any of the figures because I don't have the space to spread out into at the moment. I will do when the Japanese are done, and you'll get plenty of pictures of each of the stages, but I'm going to go into the boxes and show you a sprue. That's quite daring, as getting them back in there after I've looked at them can be a bit fun. And I want to know whether or not there are Lewis guns on the sprues. I think there are, but because the British organisation that I will be doing has a machine gun section, which is 8 rifles and a Lewis gun crew. And I might, as I'm going to have spare ones, do an additional Lewis gun crew for, because they often took extra ones on raids because they were so useful. And by this point, the quality of British musketry wasn't up to the level of being able to emulate a Lewis gun, as it had been earlier on when they were very short of machine guns. And the whole 5 rounds rapid, the whole mad minute, was basically to get a section of 10-ish soldiers to basically put down a similar weight of fire to a light machine gun. The British had already worked out that they needed light machine guns. It's just they didn't have very many of them, and so they improvised and took advantage of a rather unusual feature of the rifle, that you could fire it stupidly fast if you felt like it, and the fact that the Brits were not a conscript army at that point in 1914. They were a very small, highly professional army, and whereas most of the conscripts served for 2 or 3 years, the average British soldier was a 7-year veteran, and there was a lot of effort put into marksmanship. Again, that declined as basically it wasn't such an advantage when it came to trenches. Grenades were more useful in trench fights than rifles, especially at short range, and it was easier if you needed firepower just to roll out the light machine guns. Though calling a Lewis gun a light machine gun is more a role thing than its actual weight, because they were quite heavy, especially when they had the aluminium cooling things on them, or waterback jackets, but aren't. And again, there we are, just a little bit of Miller put around there. Pictures of these will be going on. I will probably be priming those tonight, finishing the clean up and priming them, so they should be on the page tomorrow and the usual places I post things. And last of all, we have our fellow Millard here. Now, judging by his appearance, he's not in a brass hard pewter, he's in a slightly leaded pewter, which are better for detail, but obviously you don't want animals or small children eating them, because lead poisoning is lead poisoning, and there is no safe level of lead in anything. So you have respect for them if they have got possibly lead in. Yeah, he's got a sword, it's resting on his shoulder. Yeah, he looks Norman or fairly early Anarchy, perhaps. Another one of Britain's. So yeah, it's a leaded pewter because it's soft enough to cut, whereas that is a bit of a pain. Again, plastic base as before. No, I want to stay on the page. I must have clipped the end stream thing, or it's playing up. I know not. Anyway, it won't be here much longer because I've just got that one to glue. Actually, I'll put a little bit of soup there. I will put a little bit of Miller put under the base, and we'll do the sandwich trick because he will stick faster that way. And then I can just finish off the stream by putting a little image of the last little ridge of Miller put around him. Basically done, and I'll find him a warband or some home, or he will go in my small collection of Partizan special figures. Anyway, that's probably me about done now, because the nose is going to be running off Trooper because of all the dust, and I've got things going to go off all around me, and I'm in severe need of coffee because the coffee cup is empty and that sort of thing. But thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this later. And I'll speak to you again roughly the same time next week. Hopefully a couple of minutes early when, as I do hope that YouTube decides it's going to allow me to stream dead on time rather than 2 minutes later like it did today. And hopefully sometime soon, we're going to have some better stuff to show people, and you can actually see what I'm doing offside. And everything is going to be upgraded, because that's what we do. Anyway, have a good evening, and thank you very much for watching. Speak to you next week, or on Facebook during the week, or maybe on here if I get inspired to do a stream later at a random time. Take care, and goodbye, everybody. Bye.